Welcome back to the Fine Print, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back with Bernie Barriere. And Bernie, I wanted to ask you this that you just mentioned. You said you guys pushed to get the nonprofits changed to for-profit businesses. And I thought that was interesting because it seems like they pushed back against a number of things that you guys wanted, but that was not one of them.
That was the only thing they didn't push back against. Obviously,
And you want to make money. You think this should be a for-profit industry.
Well, absolutely. I mean, how do you better your community, better your product? How do you better anything? I mean, everything takes money. I mean, let's not bullshit each other. I mean, money makes everything makes the world go round, and it really does. And and it takes money to make money. So yeah, why wouldn't you want to make money off of your investment? I mean, it's a big investment.
Did you find it interesting that they didn't push back on that?
But at the time, when I believe when those guys first got started, I think the only way the state would let them do it was if it was nonprofit, not for profit. So yeah, obviously I think they were ready for that switch. I mean, but we'll get into that too, because there was quite a conversation I had with Alex Ford in the cafeteria at the State House, and when she asked me, like, why am I doing this? Why am I making her spend money? Why can't I just leave things the way they are? And she flat out told me she used the grassroots as a write-off because it wasn't making any money, because it wasn't whatever. And she had her hands in her brother has one of the largest grows in New Mexico, and they were in Colorado at the time, and they had some stuff in California.
His name is Hadley Ford, correct?
Hadley, yeah.
And he owns the holdings company that bought their license, right? Iantis.
I don't think he owns
not
the
anymore.
Right. There was another guy, Randy Maslow, and that he's a heavy hitter. I mean, no doubt about it.
Well, Hadley had to resign from the board of Iantis for using improper use of funds or something. He took out some loans without telling his investors.
I mean, don't all those guys do that?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I'm a journalist, so we can't speculate, but it does seem like there's a lot of fishy shit going on at the top of these big MSOs.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, I mean, and honestly, I mean, in this market, I guess we'll call it, I mean, it's definitely underregulated, and I mean, it's still all a cash business. I mean, who knows? There's definitely, I mean, we've never had to deal with this before. We've never, there's no handbook to it. They had no objection to making it for profit. And in fact, when when it all went, one of their many speeches was that, being that they are the founding members of the cannabis, the medical cannabis market in Vermont, the state owed it to them to to recoup some of their money, and when the time comes for recreational, they should be able to go first to make the switch to recoup some money that they have invested and lost in this medical program.
So that's how they were supposed to get this 6-month head start.
Yes.
Wow. Even after they've already had like an 8-year head start as the only medical dispensaries in the state.
Right. Well, I mean, shoot. I mean, I even if they were to get the 6-month jump, I feel like CBD and Southern Vermont Wellness, they should be disqualified immediately, because their company was sold to out of country entities. And I don't think they didn't invest anything except, buying a permit. They didn't.
What's interesting is that I had Julie Halbert on yesterday, and I asked her straight up, can you sell a license? And she said, no, you cannot sell a license. Someone has to come in and reapply. And I was like, okay, how did all these licenses get sold then? Okay, yeah, crickets. Okay. I'd really like an answer to that question.
Yeah, me too. Because it's not like it was just sold for pennies. What was the last number I heard? I heard something, 25 mil? Was that
the slang deal? I thought it was like 17.
Right. I heard it was 17, but then there was some other deal where there was an additional 8 mil on top of it or something. But I could be wrong.
I'll have to look into that. If you find anything, please send it over my way.
25 mil was like the final number.
Now they said the state has said, I believe, that they would consider increasing the number of medical dispensaries when we hit 7,000 medical patients. But it doesn't seem like we're going to get there because no one's joining the fucking medical program.
Well, at the time to join the medical program, and I think now I haven't looked in some time, but back then to get your medical card, you had to go on to the DPS website, Department of Public Safety's website. All right. And then I'm not really computer savvy, but you have your little scroll bar on the side of like all the lists of like what you're trying to do. And right under where you would register as a sex offender, there was the little button to click for your medical marijuana form for your license.
Wow. And you accidentally clicked sex offender, huh?
I did. But so we felt that was really wrong. And we felt that DPS should just have its own page to register for your medical marijuana card. You know?
That seems kind of,
it's
not a big deal, but come on, man.
Already didn't like cause hesitation enough to like, fuck, I'm going on DPS's website. First of all, now I'm going to register as a medical marijuana patient and give them all my information. But shit, they got me fucking scared, like logged in over here right next to the sex offenders. That's like, classifying cannabis with methamphetamine and cocaine and heroin.
So when you register as a medical patient, can they come to your house and poke around?
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe they could go that far.
Okay.
But at the time you had to have an established relationship, like at least a 3 to 6 month established relationship with your doctor, all this stuff. And it was like, your DPS, why are you worried? Why are you guys even handling medical marijuana cards? The first, keyword medical. Like, why are you not in like Department of Health or Department of Ag or somewhere less scary than DPS?
Well, go ahead.
So no, I was just gonna say, that whole application process was through DPS. Like everything went through DPS, and it was weird. Like, I went to the headquarters in Barrie, Vermont, and had several meetings and one appeal that they didn't want to give me. They did not, and when I went there, I was met with great hostility. That was, yeah.
In Barrie, huh?
Yeah.
Who did you meet with over there?
Lindsay Wells, and I forget her little lapdog's name. He was he was something, man. I forget his name. I'll have to go back and look that up.
Okay. Can I talk about you? Oh, you got something else? Go ahead.
I have a feeling we're going the same place. So go ahead.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk to you about your application, and sort of what happened with that.
Oh man,
was that the same place you were going?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
So that application, um, my goodness. So they give you an application, and it's literally like a page and a half, 2 pages of questions, right? And they want to know your security plan, your financial plan, your basically pro plan. Like, they want to know everything. They want to know your floor plan. So they give you like 2 pages of questions, and you literally give them. I know for me, I gave them 500 pages of answers.
500 pages. Whoa.
Yeah, but
Oh,
that was
shit.
my security plan, my floor plan, my business plan, my everything, and at that time, like, that's when I felt like, shit, we got some momentum going. You know, everything's kind of going our way. Like, we're actually going to get, you know, we already got the permit available. Like that, I thought that was the hard thing.
Right. It's all done now, right?
Yeah, like I'm like just about ready to celebrate, you know, but I don't want to be that guy. I'm not cocky. I'm not. And until it's in front of me, like, we don't have shit.
Right.
You know, but we had gotten through one of the biggest hurdles, you know, and everyone said we weren't going to be able to do it. And that was, 1, getting Dick Sears' ear, and 2, getting him to work with us, and 3, getting that bill done through the House, the Senate, the Compromise Committee, and like to where everyone was happy, you know? And so we thought for sure we were bringing this permit to Bennington. So like, I ended up going to Washington, D.C., and I hired some consultants to help me with the application. And man, my application was good. Like, it was real good. And so I couldn't wait. Like, I was ready the day they opened up the to receiving the applications. I drove to Barrie and I hand delivered it to Lindsay Wells. Like, you know, like I was proud, you know, like I was fucking proud, man. And so I brought that application in, and I brought my $2,500 non-refundable application fee check. Everything was good. And within 48 hours, I got a denial letter.
48 hours.
Shit.
Wow.
It's like
they processed that quickly.
Yeah. She should have just fucking handed me the denial letter when I handed her my check.
Wow.
Like, I had that letter fucking quick, and I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, whoa, what? Like, what are you talking about? There's no way.
Right. Who read that all in 2 days?
Right. Lindsay Wells did. You know, she was off.
And of course, you don't get the money back. They point that out very clearly, that it's non-refundable.
Oh yeah, non-refundable. So,
and what was their reasoning for denying your application?
They said I missed a signature. They said I didn't sign a page, a declaration page.
So why didn't they just let you come in and sign it?
That's what I said. And no, that would be, they felt it would cause some bias.
But that's what's happening right now with the applications to the CCB. Like, a lot of people have incomplete stuff, and they're saying, hey, they send it back. They say, hey, you need to fill out this, this, and this.
But here's the kicker. They couldn't produce the sheet that I missed. They couldn't produce the sheet that I missed the signature on. And so I'm calling my lawyers. I'm calling everybody. I'm like, you got to get me a fucking appeal. You got to get me in there. We're calling the commissioner. Even Dick Sears is like, what's going on? Like,
did they produce all the other pages?
They can produce all the other pages, but they couldn't produce the one that I missed the signature.
They missed one page out of 500.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be the one that was in question.
Right. And so then when I raised an issue about that, you know, I'm like, give me an appeal. No. Finally, I got the appeal. And at the appeal, they didn't even say anything. They're like, they wouldn't let me sign anything. And they're like, oh, by the way, you didn't write a statement that your dispensary location was going to be more than 1,000 yards from a school or something like that. And so I pulled up the application, and at nowhere in this application does it say that I'm supposed to do that. And what they say, well, you should have just known. Like, so, and my lawyer, so he was supposed to be a mind reader, and they, you know, my lawyer went at him hard, and my lawyer said, so at no point did you ever plan on giving him an appeal, or did you, you know, did you ever see it going his way? Like, you know, this appeal going his way? And they
How
said,
does the
no.
appeal? Can you tell me how the appeal process works and who you're sitting in front of?
So there really is no appeal process. The appeal process is you're sitting in front of Lindsay Wells and her lapdog.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
And she's also the one who looks at the applications.
Right.
And she does the appeals.
Right.
Does that seem fucked?
Yeah, absolutely. It seems so fucked that my application and everything was denied, but it was so good that they gave it, that my floor plan was so good that they gave it to Shane Lynn, and he designed his Brattleboro. When he redesigned, what do you call it?
Remodeled?
Remodeled, yes. When he remodeled his dispensary, they used my fucking floor plan to a T, right down to the bank window with the drive-through.
They have a drive-through.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I had my location was in a old bank that had all the vaults and had everything, and all
perfect.
The independent vaults and everything, and the bulletproof glass window for the medical drive-through, and the live feed to the state police and the local Bennington police department.
Wow.
Everything that was going on.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was.
What a brilliant plan. Sorry.
It was good. They denied me and gave it to somebody else. And
have you been to that location and checked it out?
No, man. No. You know, let it go. Just let it go. I saw his floor plan. I saw what it was, and as soon as I saw it, I knew it was mine. They didn't.
So you actually got to look at his floor plan?
Yeah.
And how do you pull that up? They have that listed through the state somewhere?
You know what? At the time, my lawyer was sending it to me, and I don't know how he got it. I'll see if I can find that.
Okay, cool.
And you know, I just, like I said, man, I felt like after all this was said and done, dude, I took it hard. I felt like I failed.
How long did you spend working on this, Bernie?
Years. 3 years, 4 years. We worked hard. Yeah.
And what did you talk to Dick Sears after you got denied?
Honestly, I was so mad. I was so mad that I blamed everybody, that I probably made an ass out of myself. But no, Dick and I are good now. We're good now. We still talk, and we still, you know, he knows that I got. He knows that I got.
You got the shaft, buddy.
Yeah. You know what? We did a lot of legwork, and honestly, I can hear my mom in my ear now saying, "Listen, asshole, you can't tell the good news from the bad news." You know, maybe me getting that permit would have been bad news. Maybe, you know, but at the same time, I didn't fail, because look what we were able to do. Look what we were able to start. Look what we were able to, you know. I mean, it's just about here. I think that the state has it backwards. I think that they shouldn't make it all about tourism and bringing tourists to the state.
I agree. I'm with you 100% there, buddy.
I think you should start taking care of your backyard first. Start taking care of mom and pop, and giving Vermonters an opportunity to thrive instead of these corporations. You know, I applaud all these jump offs too. You know, these young guys coming through.
I was going to ask you, like, it seems like some of the older guard is a little bit kind of sour about putting in some legwork and not getting sort of a leg up, but it seems like you're kind of looking at it in a different light right now.
Yeah, I kind of, you know, I feel like I paid my dues. I feel like, you know, my team's efforts spearheaded, you know, bootstrapped a lot of this stuff that's going to happen in the near future. And, I mean, it's bittersweet, and I am a little sour, maybe a little cynical. I wish some of these folks that are coming out of the woodwork now were with us back then. I mean, and like I said, I didn't start the whole thing. I mean, there was a few people before me that, I mean, Fran Janik and those guys, a lot of the home growers,
I talked to Fran the other day. He's a fucking great guy.
Absolutely. And, and we didn't always see eye to eye, and
I bet not. He's got a lot of opinions, and you do too.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I think we all want the same thing, accessibility, affordability, not, I want the same rights somebody has as going into a bar and drinking a beer and whatever, what makes us any different?
I know. Well, I'm a bartender, so it's weird for me, because I just serve people alcohol all day.
First and foremost, I wanted the people to be able at the time to have their medicine, and I wanted it to be clean and quality and affordable. And,
how much you think a good ounce of medical should cost? Top notch. Like, what's a good price range,
Well, from what I'm told, and whatever, you in the I don't, what are they calling it now? Underground market, black market, what
illicit? You call it whatever you want. I thought black market always sounded a little racist.
Yeah. It does, but so does marijuana. So anyway, I honestly, there's no I mean, I've been all over the world. Like I said, I've been one of my best, Billy Nelson. So I've seen some of the best cannabis there ever was.
Can you get me an interview with Willie Nelson?
Probably not.
Well, if you do, I'll fucking buy you dinner.
No.
What about Dick Sears?
We'll probably get you in with Dick Sears.
I wrote him an email 5 years ago about an article that it was 2016. It was an article that came out in the Bennington Banner. And I wrote him a really nice email. I was trying not to be a dick on purpose because I know that politicians won't really talk to you if you're a dick. So he writes me back and he says, Caleb, you're the first person to actually ask me questions about this and not just call me a dick. And then he gave me an answer, which I disagreed with thoroughly, but it was cool. So I emailed him back a few months ago and I tried to get in touch with him, but I believe someone said his wife is not doing too well. So I was trying to.
I can't speak for him, but I know, he had a lot of choices to make this year, and it looks like he's going for it again. I love Dick. We like I said, we get, like you said, you don't always see eye to eye with people, and I didn't always see eye to eye with Dick, but I do know that he loves this state very much, and he truly does care about his constituents.
Well, I'd love to have him on.
Yeah, man, let's see he's wicked approachable. He's very, I mean, for a guy like me to approach him and to get his ear, no, he's definitely approachable. He's a good guy. So anyway, back to the number, I think the right number obviously should be free, but that's never gonna but no, these farmers put in a lot of work, and then now what you're going to start to see, and we haven't seen it yet in Vermont, but it's coming because they'll follow suit because they're corporate. But I've invested a lot of money and time and efforts up into Maine, and now what we're seeing on top of the licensing issues and all the shit is now we got to deal with the power companies. They hit you with these astronomical rates, and there's nothing you can do about it. You got to pay them. They double
the power consumption. That's a great point because I've been asking people what their electric bill looks like, and it's fucking steep.
Yeah, just wait till Vermont really gets rolling, and all these permits become available and people are growing. it's a game, man. They're gonna take advantage of you. They're gonna think, oh wow, these guys are growing weed, they're making money. Fuck it, we're gonna raise the rates. Like yeah. So I mean, obviously a lot of time and effort and love goes into the plants, and that shouldn't be not worth anything. I mean, $200 to $250 would be, I think that's everybody.
That sounds like a great range.
You know,
for some nice Vermont medical weed, yeah.
Or recreational. I think there's, with the amount that they're predicting to sell and the amount that I know that Vermonters consume on an average, I mean, you're talking metric tons. Why be greedy? You know, like, make it accessible, make it affordable, and make it clean.
You know, and that's one thing that, well, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but you know, that's kind of the thing that drives me nuts about these big MSOs and these type of things. Like, the weed community has always kind of been like a generous, kind of caring, like, hey, I'll give you some weed if you don't have any. And then it's like, we come in, here's a $400 ounce of moldy mids. Like, it's not very, I don't feel the love there, you know, and I've always felt that from the general weed community.
Well, I always, that was one thing I loved about the community. I always felt that we took care of our own, you know. Somebody's on hard times, you look to help that person out, you whatever, like, and that's the way it should be. And honestly, like, that was one thing growing up in the state that I loved, and I feel like as a state we've lost touch with our roots with that, even, you know. There is no more Vermont way anymore. That's a bullshit saying. There's no more Vermont way anymore. It's, you know, I'm glad that we finally don't have to look over our shoulders and laws have changed and all of that. I mean, personally, I think they should have just decriminalized it and be done with it, and just let us grow our own, let us do our thing.
I'm with you too. Sometimes, like, it seems like they present these things as if tax and regulate is the only possible thing that we could do. It's like, no, you could just stop saying that plants are illegal and we could fucking do whatever we want with them.
Right. You know? Let us our first market. Why do we need a permit to sell it? Why do we need license? Why do we need a permit to grow it? It's a plant?
You know, Bernie, that is one thing that I said, like, how did this become so complicated? Like, this is not fucking rocket science. We're growing a plant, putting it in a bag, and selling it to a customer.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like, I mean, we don't need a permit to sell our onions and our tomatoes and our corn, you know, at these farmers markets and stuff like that. You don't need we're not fighting legislation over that. I mean, and it all comes from the same place. the earth, the dirt. I mean, we're Vermonters, we're farmers. Let us grow, let us sell our products, let us live.
Can I eat, please?
Yeah. Raise our taxes anyway, raise our property tax, our school taxes anyway. Fuck, like, give us an opportunity, give us a chance.
Well,
you know,
honestly, I don't think this is something the state should have to give you. Like, if you have property, you should be able to grow plants on it. You shouldn't have to be given that right.
Exactly. What is that whole right to farm law thing?
Right. Or like private property. I don't know. Like, I have questions about private property laws, but like, if you own your own property, like, I think you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want out there.
So
unless you're murdering hookers or something, you know, like, don't murder hookers.
The private property laws are a whole different thing, you know. Like, I have a piece of property in New York with a river on it, but where it is, it's considered a colonial riverway, and everyone's like, well, you don't own the rivers, and blah, blah. Well, technically in that part of New York, I do. I own the land that's under the river. I own the bank of the river. I own, you know. But I think that's going to be another thing, you know. The home growers and just watch and see what happens with the power companies, and you know, the farmers will get taken advantage of, and they're going to
they usually do, yeah,
and they'll be forced to raise the prices, you know. Unfortunately, that's the way it's going to be. And honestly, in my opinion, and what I've seen in other states and other places that have medical programs or recreational programs, whatever you want to call it, I mean, you do invite the black market to thrive. You do invite, I mean, because the prices are so high,
Or
because
like a 92% vape tax. So now they can't sell carts, or they
right,
could, but no one's going to because they won't make any money off them.
man, the whole cart thing, I don't like the carts anyway, unless you
I do.
unless you really know what's going in there. Like,
I do.
my team right now, up in Maine, we're working on some hash rosin carts. So
Ooh,
we need,
Bernie.
yeah, I can give you a sneak peek.
I'd love to try. Hey, you know what I did want to ask you about before I forget is
Yeah,
the gun rights stuff, because a bunch of guys have been asking me, and I want to ask you. Dispensary owners are concerned because lawyers are telling them they're not going to be able to carry their guns in the dispensary. They have security guys telling them the same thing. I guess up in Maine, that's kind of the deal. And somebody actually last night told me that some places have signs up that say no guns allowed. Um, do you think this, like, I've seen a lot of robberies going on in other states, man. Like, what are your thoughts on the Second Amendment stuff? We got 8 minutes.
man, we're in Vermont. I don't think
Yeah.
you need a dispensary. I don't think that. I mean, I think that if you're mentally healthy enough to own a gun, obviously you're not going to look to bring one into a dispensary. I don't think that it should forfeit your rights. I think obviously we need some better gun control. I don't know. Shit, man. But we're Vermonters. We all carry guns. I mean,
That's what
I
I'm
don't.
saying. And a lot of guys are, boy, I feel like if they're told they're not going to be able to carry, I feel like some guys are going to be
I,
upset.
I think that's a good question for our mutual buddy Timothy Fair. I think, my last understanding was I think that if you were seeking a medical card in Vermont, that you forfeited your rights to purchase any new firearms. I don't think it takes away your right to own your old firearms. I think those are grandfathered. I don't think you can go and get your cannabis license and then go to the gun store the next day and be like, "Oh, I'm buying a new gun." I don't think that's.
I heard a
Now,
story of a guy who used to work for CBD who maybe got his house raided on for something similar.
yeah,
He said as soon as you go sign up for a license, all your employees go on a list to the feds.
yeah, and see, now that's one thing I would be cautious about too, going in any dispensary, whether it's medical or recreational. You're showing your ID to get in that door, and they're scanning it. All right,
Oh, that's true.
and what I'm hearing from some of my gun buddies is that they went to a dispensary. A couple weeks later, they go to buy a new gun, and all of a sudden, they're not getting that green light to proceed. They're getting the red light to delay. And the only thing they can think of, and they're all law-abiding citizens. The only thing they did differently is they went to a dispensary, a recreational dispensary in Massachusetts.
Wow.
And so now, I don't know, man. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's cool. I think the Second Amendment's there for a reason. And like I said, if you're healthy enough to own a gun and you're qualified to own a gun, then yeah, absolutely, you're entitled to it. I don't think you should forfeit anything just because you smoke cannabis or because you're purchasing cannabis. I mean, maybe you should take gun rights away if you go and buy a fifth of Jack Daniels, because chances are, I mean, you have a better chance of going home and having domestic issue drunk and
I know, and I'm high, dude. I don't even play with the guns. I'm like, no, we'll fucking maybe later.
No, honestly, as a gun owner, I have guns and I like them, but I mean, they sit in my safe. If I want to go to the range, I belong to a range. I pay to go to the gun club and whatever. But the price of ammunition now, who's going off to fire rounds? Fuck, dude. Just
Inflation's killing me. I gotta save this shit. It might be a war soon.
it's not readily available. Two, it's fucking $3 a round, you know, and now I got to drive over to the gun range and that costs money. So
That might be more expensive than the ammo.
it's hard to see me selling my guns. It's for fucking gas money.
I thought about it. Shit.
Guns for me is gas money, dude. That's the only way they're taking my guns. Gas money.
Hey, look, we got 4 minutes left. What do you think about the 50 milligram per package of edibles?
That's it?
That's what they're going to do at retail. 50 milligrams max, 5 milligrams per dose.
Oh, shit. That ain't going to do much. Shit.
You said you eat a lot of edibles, huh?
Yeah. I mean, you got to check out the Tiki Killers. The Tiki Killers are awesome. They have a 500 milligram gummy. I mean,
just for my next interview with the board, tell us how many edibles you could eat in one day.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh shit. We did I can tell you right now, the most I ever did one day was about 9,500 milligrams. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Oh, I was fresh.
What?
And I was drinking this funk juice, and it was it was 1,000 milligrams per bottle, and we were pouring it into the Sprite and making weed lean. It was shatter infused, and I drank a whole bunch of those to the point where I was just drinking. I was just slugging the bottle. I wasn't even pouring it in the Sprite. I was just slugging the bottle. Yeah. And then I ate a Tiki Killer. That was the 500 milligram gummy. I did 6 or 7 of the bottles. I don't know. I was rolling pretty hard.
95. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was a long day.
I accidentally ate 100 milligram gummy that I thought was 50, and I forgot how to breathe. So that's my tolerance for edibles.
I think I'm pickled when it comes to THC and consumption. I
can smoke all day, but the edibles, my tolerance is so low.
And see, now I can't even, the flower, like I love flower and I love pretty looking flower, but it just does nothing for me.
Right.
As far as medicating for what I need it for, I mean, I've got a few ailments that sometimes get the best of me. So I'm heavily medicating throughout the day. And right, the only thing that's working for me right now is the hash rosin.
Yeah, you say you like that shit, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Bernie, we gotta wrap it up. Boy, that looked like a fat dab right there. Oh.
Yeah, that was some Tropicana cookies mixed with Gorilla Butter.
You got any final thoughts, dude? 90 seconds.
You know what? I hope that the community can get along better than it has been. And I hope that we can be a little more productive. And we're all going for the same thing. And, I just hope we get back to our roots and take care of each other. Look out for one another, because we can do better than what we're doing now. And I hope the state can do better than what they're doing, because they're failing right now. So, yeah.
That seems like a great note to end it on.
Hey, man.
Bernie, it's been a pleasure, man. I'm glad we finally got to do this. And don't be surprised if I ask you for a follow-up down the road.
I'm sorry for some rambling,
No, that's what I call you for.
It happens, man. All right.
Yeah, we appreciate all your hard work, man. Thanks for everything you've done, and be good.
Door's always open, man. Call me anytime.
All right, take care.